Hello everyone. A new day, a new stream. Not that I stream every day, but I'm back to Tuesday streams and I feel better actually. Last week it wasn't the best stream ever in the history of this channel, but it was something. And it wasn't useless actually, because I investigated the issue with the connectivity of the current OpenWrt VM, and I found out that I might be able to actually go around the issue without spending any money, which was great, to be honest. It turns out that I cannot. Off stream, I previously today I checked a couple of things and I looked into the configuration needs for let's say the SDN configuration on Proxmox is just the Proxmox side. I also need to have the router side, let's say, to be configured to accept that kind of zone VLAN tagging, if I remember correctly the terminology. And my let's say that my router is not up to par when it comes to configurations, which means that I could either change the router or I could add a second NIC, network interface, to the Proxmox host, a physical network port. And since I have to spend money, I need to figure out the more effective solution, which is the one that leads me to the least expenses during this period, which means that I have taken the route of a second NIC on the Proxmox host. It's incoming, therefore what I figured out is that currently this is the situation, that the troubleshooting of the internet connectivity actually is let's say ongoing, and it will be something that will likely be fixed either next stream or off stream. I think it may be off stream for certain reasons, but we will see. In the meantime, I can move on to what I wanted to work on last week, which is porting the configuration to Terraform. So, as you can see, the name of the stream only has a slight small difference, and it is the day being day 13, as it could be said that last stream was wrongly named, but I don't plan to rename streams after they are over. They're streams. What happens, happens. There is another stream I recall that well, the first one where we talked about OpenWrt was named about Fedora CoreOS. I think it's this one. And another one was about maybe the first of Fedora CoreOS, and it was still about Terraform and Proxmox virtualization environment, virtual environment. But anyways, what can be done during the stream is an attempt to recreate the current VM using Terraform. But on top of that, this will lead me, if successful, to have everything ready during the next stream. So coming back to here real quick. So if today's stream that will be dedicated to this is successful, that means that by the time we are working, by the time we have the next stream, both this step and this step will be completed, and I will be able to start working on the downstream. I still need to figure out a couple of things because I don't want to dox myself. I may already have done enough of it in previous streams, honestly, but I want to be safer, let's say, and I need to understand if I risk something by openly configuring OpenWrt on stream. So that's an issue I didn't think about before, but looking at things off stream, I realized that it might be a good idea to not show everything. I may need to configure things off stream and show just the reasons and the ideas of segmentation that I plan to implement during the stream. So I implement them off stream and I talk about them after they are implemented during the stream, something like that, but we'll see. In the meantime, this is the focus for today's stream. And indeed, let's work on that. To work on that, I need definitely to create some file that may be sensible to be done in the tests folder. I have the provider, but I'm not sure if it works because it's the old provider.tf with the embedded okay, the embedded API token that has changed. So what I can do, which is a bit of a mess, I guess. We have it here, and I can copy Terraform definitions to tests, kind of, not really everything. I just copy some files, I guess, and that will make it work. I may need, yeah, I will definitely need to change to perform Terraform init again. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it during last stream or during previous stream, I don't remember, but there is some kind of modularity implementation to the Terraform configuration files that could be applied, and that is something that I may look into it, because otherwise so let me go I don't know if this yeah, there it is, perfect. So in here we have certain files. Okay, we have provider.tf that includes the details to connect to the provider, through the provider to the Proxmox host. The template, that is the one to create the virtual machine. Vars.tf, that includes the credentials for the provider.tf to work, and the others are not important currently. So what's the issue? All of these are needed, all these three files are needed to create a VM. If I add a second template.tf, that will be included, and it will mean that I can create 2 VMs, for example, but I still need provider.tf and vars.tf. If I create a folder in here, inside Terraform definitions, that by the way is public now. I don't remember if I said that either, but both Terraform definitions and Fedora CoreOS definitions are public on Codeberg, so you can take a look at them. If I were to create a folder inside Terraform definitions, I could not directly refer to provider.tf and vars.tf. I would need to copy them inside that folder for everything to work, because Terraform scans everything in the folder, and indeed if I were to instead do this Terraform, we have the .terraform lock HCL and the .terraform folder, which are created when Terraform init has started. And yeah, the easy way to do things, I would say, that is to copy these two inside the folder together with the provider.tf and vars.tf. That's great. It will work because it worked previously when I tried it. But at the same time, that means I will have a lot of duplication of the provider.tf file, which I want to remind you all, let me open it, includes the version, which is something that needs to be updated when there is released a new version, which is something that I can actually take a look. Okay, not yet. But anyways, this is something that will need to be updated every single time. And when the update is done, Terraform init -- upgrade needs to be run in the folder. If I find myself having countless provider.tf files, that would be a little bit of an issue. And because keeping them updated and aligned can start to become annoying, something I don't like. At the same time, I don't like the idea of having all VMs in the same folder for Terraform, let's say, I will need to do an extra step of configuration, or better, an extra step of reorganization and cleanup as I previously did, because currently with this Terraform folder there is a single VM, that is this one, and it will need to be changed a little bit because of course it does not name itself as router anymore. Okay, but anyways, what I'm saying is that especially for the way in which Terraform works, that scans the folder, checks for all the .tf files, and basically appends them all together and then applies them all together. If I create 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5 VMs, 5 different templates for different VMs, when I change them, everything is applied at the same time. And even though some things will not change, so maybe it will be just restarted, a VM that is not changed, at the same time, I don't like it. So there is a modular possibility provided by Terraform. I just don't know if it applies to and it will work with the Proxmox provider for Terraform. So that is something that I will need to figure out. Currently, what I will do is kind of replicate this kind of configuration in another VM with for the OpenWrt image. And I think I will do kind of the same as this, so cloning a template. So I will need to create another template that only has the image of OpenWrt. After that, I will be cloning that template and connect to it. And maybe I can configure it to be connecting to the internet this time and only connecting to the internet, basically. But I will see. I'm not sure. Anyways, what I will need is definitely this one. I think yes, because this is the VM creation with all the configurations, and these configurations can all be replicated on another template.tf, basically, which will be named this time router.tf correctly. So what we can do is new file router.tf, and I can actually copy and paste everything and change what is needed. So OpenWrt router, again OpenWrt router, Perfect. Memory, I don't need this, so that's a great thing, to be honest. Just router is more than enough as the tag. SCSI hardware is correct. The network is correct as well. That's 0. I wonder how I will actually, let me go into the documentation in here, and I think maybe it's not here, it's just resources. This is interesting. But anyways, the network part in here. Top level block. CPU VGA network. And the first network block will become net 0. The second one will be net 1, etc. So I would just name it. So the network block is used to configure network devices. Maybe specified multiple times. Okay, so that is this. Oh, okay, got it. So basically the ID is the one leading, and this will be Virteo VMBR0, and the second one will be ID1 model. I think Virt.io will be correct once again, and instead it will not be VMBR0, but this is something that we will see when we implement it. Boot order, this is truly important because it was something that I previously had to implement manually. CPU course 2 is correct. So memory course net 0 is correct, SCSI hardware is correct, Series 0 and VGA are correct. Cloud init local LVM. Okay. Disk size. I don't remember disk size. Let's check for OpenWrt, I guess. I should have everything already open about OpenWrt somewhere. At least some things. There it is. So yes, user guide, installation. There is something about disk size, maybe? Hardware. Okay. Disk size. This one, this flash utilities, disk. Yeah, but I want to understand how much space is needed. Okay, so what I will do, if I recall correctly, it's really small. It's a really small image, given that it is meant to work on devices with very little storage, so routers to be clear. So definitely I can, let's go, I found out from the AI is telling me 2 gigabytes of the space is sufficient, and there is a link, I guess, of references. Let's go here. There is a gist. Interesting. Okay, interesting. This gist is useful, but to be honest, I think my solution is a little bit better in here. But it's true that I didn't configure any disk space. So I don't know if I can actually just get rid of this SCSI 0 disk. Interesting. Zero and import OpenWrt. So this is something that when I created the clone, the template, sorry, I will basically do just this part. Interesting. Let's put 5 cloud init. Okay, so now what else does change? Well, this, let's put 200. And what else? This needs to change, and this needs to change. This needs to be created. The OpenWrt template, and this can probably be removed altogether. I think, which will make it odd, as I'm not injecting any cloud init configuration, but we will see. In the meantime, let's go in here, SSH 192 168 140. Perfect. And in here we can first of all check if the image is there, and it's not, it seems. I do not remember rebooting this, but it's not too much of an issue. In theory I have it. In here, OpenWrt, there it is. So we can actually SCP, there it is. Let's do it. And now we have it, and we can move it. And we can move it. I don't know exactly where, because this is not an ISO, it's an image. So once again, what was it, 89 I think? Yes. But if I go in here, cache ISO, what about images? Okay, so images, there is nothing. I think that is the place. So mv WRT to what? This, and it should be all right. We will see in a moment, because now we create the template, and to create the template, where is it? Yeah, there it is. So I can create the VM, create 9002, my last name, OpenWrt template, perfect. And we can then qm set 9002 as now SCSI 0 local. I have the error still there, but it's okay. LVM 0 import from equal var not var, yes, var lib see, images, OpenWrt image, seem correct. Perfect. And then after this is done, we set it as template. So gem template 9002 renamed in volume PVE. That seems to be correct. Now this becomes OpenWrt template, and everything seems to be mostly correct. What I can do, that is completely unneeded, so I will not do it. Fuck it. Yes, this seems to be alright. So now if we go back, I created it directly in Terraform definitions in the end, but it's okay. Terraform plan. I expect there is quite a bit of stuff. Minus out, deploy in this case. And let's see what happens if we go Terraform apply, deploy. At the same time, maybe we can connect to the okay, look at this. OpenWrt router. Error. What? The one I didn't touch? What the hell? Say modifying. VM100 already running. That's okay, I guess. I mean, let's do what I wanted to do that I didn't find needed. But see, this is the kind of issue I was describing before. Everything is basically appended together, and everything is managed together. So this is annoying, but okay. Plate tags, CoreOS template for the time being, and this change me. It wasn't needed, I guess, but okay. So Ctrl S, and in case change me again, let's do it in here as well. So everything is recreated, and in theory there will not be any issue. And there will not be any error in theory. The interesting stuff will be accessing that VM. with OpenWrt, which will happen in a moment. I'm not rushing. There we go. Perfect. That's good. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we are successful. Or not. Doesn't look half bad, to be honest. Of course, this is not the IP address I want. So maybe now we can go the next step and try to use Cloud Init to change this configuration. Let me think. So, first of all, this is successful. And that's the first step. So, let's go Terraform modularity. Quick, not really, rant about Terraform modularity. Porting VM creation from day to Terraform. The VM manually created during day 11 stream is alright, I guess. By the way, let's try to ping Google. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's good. Thought so. We have the same exact issue with the other VM, but that's good enough. It was pretty much expected. Is right from the is right apart from the issue with the internet connectivity that is beyond that is not something that can be solved right now. Creation of a template for OpenWrt. Going back into the notes for where I created the template for the FCOS, for the FCOS template. Back to notes where I created the FCOS template. I used the same methodology, the creation of the OpenWrt template. Details. Incoming, and that is these comments. I will also add another detail. Comments for the creation of the template, and this the folder directory is the location where the OpenWrt image is located. It may not be needed, but it's okay. Now we can go into the router.tf, and we go back to this guy, and this guy is mostly correct, I want to say, but I want to check something. F-H. Okay, so hardware. Processor. Yeah, this is odd. No, it's not odd. 1 GB byte is correct. Processor 2, BIOS, display perfect, machine, cloud init drive. Okay. Hard disk size 5 gigabytes. And net 0 is this serial port. Cloud init, password none, user, DNS domain, DNS server, public, SSH, upgrade packages, ipconfig, net 0. That is completely ignored, which is alright. So that leads me to believe I don't have that much possibility to do things with cloud init. But I can check, I guess. Cloud init OpenWrt. Let's see if something comes up. OpenStack Cloud Init. Let's see what's in here. Try to make OpenWrt file with Cloud Init inside, which I can upload to my OpenStack run instance with the image. Bump help, please. No, so I cannot. Not where I get the box working solution anyway. Okay. Reading out loud, sorry, but I'm just skimming through real quick. It would seem that so I don't wanna repackage the image, so create the image myself if that is needed. That is something I don't really have interest in it, and this is quite old, to be honest. So let me open it in a second page. Packages. Lightweight and flexible command line shared JSON processor. Parted, non-parted, RC crowd, minimal shell script implementation for Smother Cloud Init. Okay. Oh, come on, I don't want a fork, I want to see the forks. So it will seem that out of the box is a no. So I can create the VM, but it is a clean VM, which then requires some manual steps to configure it, which is kind of annoying, but still something useful. But anyways, let's step back into this and let's do this. And this seems to be correct. I don't know if I can remove the ipconfig 0. I don't know. Let me check back again into this. Init, I think. here I have just an example. Credit VS must be cloned from a ready template when creating a resource that is using Cloud Init. There are multiple configurations possible. You can use either the CI custom parameter to create based on a Cloud Init configuration file, or use Proxmox variable. Say users, password, ipconf is 0, and so on and so forth. Perfect. ipconf is 0. The first IP address to assign to the guest. Format, whatever. When OS type is Cloud Init, no setting IP is equivalent to skip IPv4 equal true, and IPv6 IP6 equal to skip IPv6 equal true. OS type, I don't have it. Okay. Oh, look at this. Okay. OS type. Which provisioning method to use based on the OS type? Options. Ubuntu CentOS Cloud Init. So maybe this can be added. Is a top level block, I think. Yeah. OS type Cloud Init. And I remove this line. Say upgrade false, I leave it. So OS type, oh wow, nope, OS type equal what was it? Cloud Init. Cloud Init. No. Init. Perfect. I think this is good enough, but that this is not aligning itself like the other things. Let's do it like this. And change me again. Change me again. And let's try to apply this. Not in here. Ooh, valid reference. Okay, a reference to a resource type must be followed by at least one attribute access specifying the resource name. What the hell? What? OS type. Which provisioning method to use based on the OS type? Options. And a reference to a resource type must be followed by at least one attribute access specifying the resource name. Oh wait, it's a string. I think I got it. It's It's yeah. I got it. I got it. Okay, and now it should be correct. And it is. Let's apply and let's see what happens. I would expect everything to work as intended, but you never know. In the meantime, I can completely stop this. Shut it down, kill it, basically. And I can... What else? Where is the... Destroy, basically. Remove. 9,000. Okay. Remove. This is the one that I care about instead. Warning. It's a warning, I don't give too much. I could put the DHCP option. I guess. After all, it's the same kind of thing I experienced last time, if I recall correctly. I'm going by memory, of course. But anyways, let's go for it. IP config 0 equal DHCP. So in here, what is it? Yes. So change me. And this is the thing I'm talking about when I say I need the modularity, because I could have this in a folder. When I need to modify this, I do it. And this in another folder. When I need to modify this, I do it. I don't need to modify both to avoid the error I got the other time before. The first time I tried before. Anyways. What? Why? I just changed the configuration. There is something else that is missing. DHCP. It's the only place. Press 1, define connection if it's true. Just name or IP to use to connect to the VM for pre-provisioning. This can be written by defining SSH forward IP, but if you're using Cloud Init and this IP reported by the QEMU guest agent is used, otherwise the IP defined in ipconfig0 is used. Yeah, it's the only thing. Let's check in here if there is any DHCP. Cute. I mean, it's just a warning, so it's not something that is too annoying. But again, I want to understand if I can avoid that warning. Doesn't seem so. So in here I have IP somewhere. Not too far. There it is. One step is Cloud Init. Not setting IP is equivalent to skip IPv4 true and IPv6. Yeah, but what are IP? Wait. It's not DHCP like this, most likely. Right. It is maybe like this, but IP DHCP. Yes. Up. I didn't need to use the mouse for that, but it's okay. There it is. So basically in here I got DHCP, I think. Let's try and see what happens when I go for the plan again. Which is strange because I have enabled it, it seems. I could just give it the gateway instead. Let's see what happens. Same kind of issue, but will it work? I mean, it worked without that line completely, so I don't need it. Still, I find it annoying to find a warning without any kind of explanation. That's just how it is. I mean, there is an explanation, to be clear, but at the same time, whatever I do, it doesn't seem to be working, and there is no other DHCP anything to be configured, so it's annoying, basically. Error, yeah. Da, 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 da. And that's good enough, in my opinion, which means that I will remove that line and we are done with it. Since it worked without it, and I don't even have the error, the warning this time, so if it goes well and it allows me to get to the console, that's good enough. It is just a little bit annoying that the IP address, and that is the default IP address, is something I cannot reach, and I need to change it from the console. But that's okay. Warning, whatever. It would seem that everything is correct. I just need to find Joplin. There it is. Okay, so in here we have it, and of course what I mean is this, which is something I would like to be different. And I know how to configure it now. And it seems I cannot do it with the cloud init. So I need to access this console, change that single configuration with the commands I found on during the 11 stream, and then I can move on to the next steps, basically. So this means that router.tf is finalized as is. So Control A, T. I don't need any note, I think, but let's be verbose. The following is the functioning .tf file for the creation of the VM with OpenWrt. And let's do this. let's do this, and let's say the current version only has one single network block. As soon as the new PCI card is installed, this shall be changed slightly, and that's one thing. Other thing, when this is used, a warning will appear, and let's retrieve the warning. This happens because there is no cloud init network configuration, but even if it was present, there would not be any implementation of the above of the cloud init configurations. Okay, this leads me to believe maybe I can remove this part. This, and that's it, and this, I guess, because they are ignored, but it's okay. Also, this is present but not really present, so that is something we can look into. After the VM is created by default, as previously seen, the IP address of the VM is 92.168.1. This needs to be changed from the Proxmox VE through the VM console. Currently there is no other option as we've seen that Cloudinit is ignored for that. But anyways, that's not an issue. I can just use this kind of command, I guess. Which is something that I cannot paste, I think. Yeah. UCI set network dot LAN dot IP add equal 192 168 1 200. UCI commit and then etc init.d network restart. So now if I go here, I guess sh root at 92 168 100. Yes, we are inside, as there is no root password currently and there is no kind of configuration. And there was something related to storage that I checked, and there was some kind of I don't remember. Yeah, there is some resize stuff. For UEFI keys, there was a ramp. Yeah, I cannot do any of this, it seems. Similar guide for UEFI. Let's see. Yeah, pass-through hardware is something that I will need to look into for this VM eventually. but I will need also to install the hardware needed, but it's okay. This can be interesting. Let me keep it. Let's keep it also in here. So we have a little bit of things that are useful, maybe. But somewhere I saw previously there was some kind of sh shell script. Not in here, definitely. .sh expander root.sh. Yeah, but it is something that I need to download. So for the time being, I cannot implement that. But again, it is something that I can look into. So this is a good tutorial. Some additional information. Okay, so this is advanced user guide. So I can look for it directly in the documentation. Base system, network, firewall, advanced configuration, configuring, expanded root partition file system. Okay. I mean, I could inject it in a bad way, but I don't have these packages, so it's useless. Yeah, it's not manual stuff. By the way, if it is 2 GB is more than enough, I may change it, but it's okay. Anyways, this was successful. Let me write a couple of notes, I guess, because the commands are I don't think I can find them here. Indeed, different session, but I have them in here, I guess. After VM is created, by default, as previously seen, the IP address of the VM is 192.168.1.1. This needs to be changed from the Proxmox VE UI through the VM console. Currently, there is no other option. Commands cannot be pasted. All needs to be manually typed. Commands are, and let's go for 92, 168, 200 as it is. Nice. You see, I commit and there it is. Then everything else can be configured from CLI and from the web user interface. So this is cool. What else is there? I will need to look into hardware pass-through using Terraform, as well as configurations for the network segmentation. Something that will likely happen during the weekend, as it still needs to be a couple of days before I get the actual network card delivered. Template router. Perfect. What is this? Share this page. Wow, not really. What else can we do? Because I'm kind of done with this stuff. I could test it without the cloud in it, just for fun. Let's see what happens, given I have the time. So basically, yeah, this stuff could be removed. This can be changed to 2. This stuff can be removed in theory. Schedule network tags, CPU, boot clone, whatever. That seems to be correct, I want to say. Let's go change me, and let's go change me as well. If this is correct, I will move to this, to be honest. Okay, let's see what happens with the plan. Cloud init is enabled. Where is enabled? So target start node on boot, started node boot, memory tags. Sorry. CPU, SCSI hardware, network, boot clone, VM state. I don't see any cloud init thing in here, but anyways, let's try to see if we can apply and it works or not. If it works, it's better. If it doesn't, we can go back. We will see it soon, I think, soon enough. Creation complete. And there is no warning either. It's in the plan, the warning. But in here we have everything, it seems. Okay, we can change it. So what I removed is this stuff and this stuff, it seems. And I changed this 5 into a 2. Okay, when this is used, when it will appear when Terraform plan minus out deploy is executed. And when Terraform apply is executed, there is no warning. This is actually great news. And once again, if I go IPA, that's the IP. And if I go ping, it won't work. So once again, this is great up until now, but not too great. But hey. Oh Jesus. Never mind. It will break eventually. So that's pretty much it, because I completed this thing, so I can actually already do this and add this in here. Because it was completed. This troubleshooting, as I mentioned, needs to be implemented when I have the network card delivered and installed. So anyways, honestly, it was quicker than I thought, but at the same time, I'm satisfied, so I will end the stream in here. I'm not sure what I would do next. I needed to figure it out, because since I cannot configure OpenWrt, I would need to go back into Fedora CoreOS, but once again, I cannot move forward until I... So basically, I have Proxmox with OpenWrt, Proxmox, OpenWrt, and then on top of it, with the network segmentation, I will have the cluster, I will have the network where all the users, me and other people, connect to the internet, and some other network maybe for guests. If a friend of mine comes over and they need to connect to the internet, I can give them a QR code that leads them to a specific segment of the connectivity. But until I cannot configure OpenWrt, it would be premature to start configuring the cluster. I started with Kubernetes. I don't want to start with Kubernetes and then go back to OpenWrt and then go back to Kubernetes, to be honest. It will be a mess. And since it's not needed right now, that's good enough. So for the stream tonight, we finish sooner rather than later. Not too different from last stream, as far as I can remember, but last stream I was not in a great situation, I guess, mentally and physically, whereas today I'm more hyped. Anyways, thank you all, and see you next week for a new stream. Bye!